Hello, everybody. We're back here with another review. Of course, it's got to be Dynamite. On a Thursday this time. Last time they were on a Saturday. They were on a Thursday this time with live crowds, but 10% capacity. But decent practice on social distancing. Even smart enough to not even get them that far, that close to the ring. So, what was supposed to happen this week? Oh my god, my head's about to hurt. Because we have, of course, a more established card going into All Out that I'm not saying that every episode of Dynamite recently has been terrible. Far from it. It's at least been watchable. So what has been the build? Of course, a contract signing with Jon Moxley and MJF, Matt Hardy in a tables match against Sammy Guevara, an 8-man tag, a tag team gauntlet, and a handicap match, and only one-on-one match there's only 2 one-on-one matches. One is a squash match from Lance Archer, just shouting up everybody dies, and the last time I even seen him on a promo, it was just Jake the Snake Roberts talking for like a few smidgen of nothing, other than just put him on the cattle prod while he got everybody dies on his freaking fat back, looking like Fat Pat. That's what it looks like. And we had a gauntlet tag team match. I guess this is supposed to bring some deception into. Oh, it looks like the Elite are still not getting along. It's been over a freaking year. You had a makeshift tag team, hold it for the longest, over teams that held it like SCU. I just wanted it to go to the Young Bucks. At least it's an established tag team that at least nerds know and certain people in the wrestling community know, because we've been fed this crap for the last several years because WWE has done absolutely nothing. It's just bad. It's bad, man. The match, second half of the Gauntlet match was okay, but I felt like some of them dragged. Like the Best Friends and Young Bucks match dragged, and especially in a 2-hour show. In a Gauntlet match is just for a title shot. Where was Kenny Omega in all of this? Hangman, probably they're going to give a reason from last time why they didn't establish, even though they were establishing that Hangman was rubbing members of the Elite the wrong way. He's like, tell him a jobber. Why were you part of the Elite, though, if the Young Bucks disrespect you like that? And then they come around just swigging alcohol in his face and all that stuff. And I don't know why they're being like that. Like, I understand they're authority figures / wrestlers in the show, but haven't he beaten you live on pay-per-view already? It's so bad. And they were already like bringing up, we have to bring United. In Blood and Guts, this was before they made the Stadium Stampede match because they couldn't do Blood and Guts. So they handshaked it out, and all the crap has just been regular. Nothing been built up other than Hangman's allegiance with FTR. FTR, that was the freshest team, was the last team, and they eliminated Best Friends after a long, strenuous match. I had Sentons, a face buster. If you've seen a Young Bucks match, you've seen it all. No compellingness comes from watching a Young Bucks match. I'd rather watch Usos face off against the New Day 10 times within a year than watch a regular Young Bucks match. Over to bring some complacency, they have so many tag teams, but most of them are forgettable. And it's just to show how bad it is. I mean, it's cool to see Brian Pillman Jr. Because, of course, I thought he was really entertaining back in WCW and WWF. Rest in peace, Brian Pillman. And Griff Garrison. Lost to a makeshift faction of Eddie Kingston, Butcher and Blade, and the Lucha Bros, defeating Griff Garrison like the jobber on AEW Dark, Brian Pillman Jr. you'll see on an MLW. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, that's at least a tag team. Like a really awkward one, like a majority of the matchup. I just didn't want to see any part of Sonny Kiss given like a freaking like stink face coming around, always doing split legs, even doing hip tosses. Looked like there was barely any selling. The match was just super forgettable. Other than we got a battle royal to win, and and then that was it. That was it. That was a promo. That was all Eddie Kingston said. He said, and Eddie Kingston, even though he looks like a guy who owns a deli, the guy is an underrated promo. Incredibly menacing. Like, literally, if you guys don't even watch Shikara, just watch freaking Impact. He had some good back and forths with Conan. And Conan's also a great promo. Just, Jesus. The stuff that they make him do to make him this makeshift tag team, even though Santana and Ortiz are literally in a major faction on AEW, it makes zero sense why you're just with Pentagon, Phoenix, Butcher, and Blade. Like, where's this coming from? Everybody in the shows in the indies. Everybody except some guys from WWE. So where is this coming from? That match literally made no sense. They immediately had an 8-man tag for no reason. I didn't even know SCU broke up at a more recent time. I don't care. Sean Malata also jobbed to Lance Archer. He was just doing the same crap. Like, he even tried to have this little rivalry with Marco Stunt. Obviously, it was entirely one-sided. Stomps, clotheslines. Like, the biggest thing is he should be one of the more major heels in the company. Obviously, because he's really forefronted. And you have one of the greatest talkers out of Jake the Snake Roberts backing you up. And the most you had was losing to Cody for the TNT title. And he didn't even have any other major focus like this. Now he's back to squash matches. And I guess that's supposed to be building up, like, back his destruction. But if he's not taking out any, like, established stars that are not even going to be known to be in the main event scene, then you're just doing this for no reason other than to just keep this asshole on TV. And we barely even have that much to establish Brian Cage. Even in his first profile match, he lost to Moxley. And then to Darby Allin. And I like Darby Allin. I think he's entertaining as hell. But by God, the guy looks like I can spin out powerbomb him. And hit him with like a spin out pilo driver. Next up, we have the contract signing with MJF and John Moxley. And Moxley was okay. MJF was phenomenal. I don't want to doubt come September 5th that Moxley would lose the AEW title. Got a friend of mine, hopefully he loses. She'll get pissed. Yeah. I'm trying. MJF is a really charismatic, phenomenal promo over Dictator John. And the more times he said John into the conversation, makes me just have PTSD flashbacks to when Michael Cole was commentating with JBL back in the day. Just don't say John frequently. It's dumb. And the mainly just bringing up that they're restricting the paradigm shift. That it's like if you're so cool, then you wouldn't need one measly little finisher to beat me. So that's interesting enough. Although in itself, even though it's been done before, but MJF just takes it like you'll try just pointing out most of the flaws, pointing out most of the background. He pointed out what the skills and Moxley uses in most of his matches and the skills that he uses in most of the matches. And it just felt like so prolific that even Jericho he was on commentary for the show. He looked pretty okay. I mean, looked pretty impressed in how confident and how assured it looked like he has Moxley in the palm of his hands without his key finisher. Even though he took out a guy who literally beat one of the top baby faces of the company with a freaking sleeper hold back at Double or Nothing just a few months back in April. So it was a pretty good promo out of MJF. I'll give it that. It ended up with a contract signing, not reading the fine print like always. It ended up with the attorney being assigned a wrestling match in. If he's not to appear, MJF will not have his title shot come All Out. So that's the go home show. I don't know, bro. I don't want to go back to school. This is okay. Oddly enough, MJF did point out the cliche that every contract signing ends up with some kind of physical altercation. All I know is I don't want to see the Nightmare family back, like QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, ever again as a tag team. Like, I'll do, like, firing and hiring. I'm going to see if I can do a video on that. Like, and I'm not saying that everybody on AEW sucks. I'm just saying that certain ones suck. I mean, it's an oversaturated tag team and a tag team division and how reliant that we are on the statistics. And certain guys that look like they're barely going to have TV time to begin with other than treated as a joke. At least Orange Cassidy's over because of borderline legitimate gimmick feeling absolutely funny to certain people. And that's an extent. You need to keep a guy like that in the company. Especially if he's going to get that premiere reaction. That's a good thing. I don't care about Orange Cassidy. It's funny to that demographic of wrestling fans, so I don't mind. You guys like Marco Stunt that are doing nothing. He's entirely short. Him like breaking out and beating like guys like Kenny Omega. I mean, doing moves around Kenny Omega, Cody, and feeling like he's ever going to have a chance to even beat a guy like freaking Swoggle. It's gonna feel unrealistic as hell. He's not funny. He's not charismatic. He looks like a 12-year-old girl, even though he's probably older than me. And it's just weird for me, in my opinion. We also had a celebration with Brody Lee winning the TNT Championship against Cody last week in dominant fashion. Cody couldn't even last 10 minutes, and ended up with the shards of the prototype TNT belt being tossed on Cody. His own wife being knocked out by the newest member, Anna Ray. I think that's her name. That was even introduced. Colt Cabana was there with freaking lawnmower. And they even bring a final casket for the Nightmare family. Blah, blah, blah. He's the new heel. He screams. John Silver comes around like acting like a freaking retard out of nowhere, and I would do the same thing. Brody Lee slapped the ever-living piss out of him. Shockingly, I thought that was part of him being exiled out of the group because he was speaking out of term. No, he just came back in line. So you just made sure Alex Reynolds and John Silver are just permanent jobbers. Hell, make cruiserweight tag team belts if you want to. Bring some source of resemblance. I think that's a semblance of relevance. I think that would be the only reason like Private Party would still be allowed on television. Or the Jurassic Express. By God, I hate that tag team so bad. And it was a pretty average promo and ended up with an ambush by the Nightmare family. Cody, QT. No, not Cody. He didn't appear. Over the promo, and even on commentary, they were like, Cody had a career-threatening injury after his post-match assault against Brody Lee. So it's like, okay, probably a kayfabe return next week, or maybe something else. Maybe a rematch, or something. I mean, this belt has a long way to go if it's going to be some semblance of prestige. This is only the first title change it's had in its existence, so hopefully Brody at least makes this somewhat legitimate, especially thinks he actually has a legitimate faction, and he doesn't call it the Nightmare family, even though Cody's still part of the Elite. So I don't really understand. Did I tell you Hangman Page is out the Elite? Oh my god, I obviously care about... What's his name again? It's just... It was a average promo. Matt Cardona even came out of nowhere. I'm calling it a Rough Rider. I don't care what they freaking called it. I'm calling it a Rough Rider. It's a Rough Rider. He hit John Silver immediately out of nowhere for Rough Rider. Dustin Rhodes. Still, everybody was laid out until Matt Cardona came with the easy save. Even Scorpio Sky came. So it's like, I'm confused what happened to SCU. And it's like, oh, they've broken up. And it's like, oh, you had your first tag team ever win the belts. I mean, your first tag team champions that won the belt break up immediately. That's odd. I mean, it's better off seeing like a couple of 50-year-old men in a faction and just have them do it separately. They're going to have probably Christopher Daniels like beat Cody or something. Big Swole against Britt Baker, Penelope Ford, and Rebel. Reba, sorry. Don't know where Rebel come from. So, this was a handicap match, and if she won, she gets her. Even though last week she had Reba. So they gifted her a match against her anyway. So they just keep feeding this up. I mean, at least Britt Baker is a character. I mean, it's an average character, but at least it's a character. Like, we even had this dumb, quick contract signing that felt like a UFC fight. And don't get it twisted, I like Thunder Rosa. I miss NWA Power over the semblance of it's at least something consumable. And I like James Storm. So that's the reason why I watch NWA Power to begin with. But, there's nothing compelling me to watch Hikaru Shida against Thunder Rosa. And there's nothing compelling me to watch Big Swole against Britt Baker. At all. I think there was like a few botches in this match. And this had the most botches in the show. Involving a messed up Hurricane Rana from the top. I think it was a meteor that was botched up or something involving Penelope Ford. Reba and, no, it was Penelope Ford and Big Swole. I think there was a discus forearm that went bad. There was a headbutt that went completely bad. Reba delayed a Hurricane Rana that they completely awkwardly edited it out. And just Britt Baker that's still not even conditioned to wrestle. You would think she would be like, wait, who is the third woman? I don't know, probably Nyla Rose or something. No, they just automatically just put her in the match. They just use a crutch to try to distract Big Swole. It ends up with a big victory off Big Swole, so she gets a title shot predictably against the heel with a posse. So you that are obviously not threatening like Penelope Ford. That was somewhat in the title picture. Like, I like Penelope Ford. I want to see more Anna. Ali. I want to see more Brandy, especially try to bring up a more of a heel dynamic with her being a privileged housewife, taking advantage of the power that Cody has for her to get a women's title opportunity. Like, do something. Make this women's division feel more appealing and more character growth be shown around the show. Or else people are not going to care. You can't just have women's wrestling for the sake of women's wrestling. You need to build up character drives, especially in a weekly program on TNT, so people can actually watch the show. And especially, wrestling fans like female women with power that are attractive and that are bitches. Why do you think Stephanie McMahon... Why do you think people still went up to Stephanie McMahon back when she was like 25 or something? It's just an opinion. And Brandy Rhodes seems to be a compelling talker when she needs to be. She's incredibly attractive. And she can act like a bitch if she needs to. So, I don't know why this is so difficult. Britt Baker obviously has some more complacency to be a heel. Thinks she's a better promo. She's a better seller. And yeah, it's just injuries holding her back. Even though I know it's probably some build for a forgettable match that she's going to have a Big Swole that's taken like 5 months of build? For nothing? Other than some squash matches and tossing her into a trash can. A dumpster. Sorry, I need to use better phrasing. The match was forgettable. Finally, we had our main event. That was a tables match. But Matt Hardy wanted to make Sammy bleed Like, he bled when he slid the chair right into his face and gashed me. Now, Sammy did get, during over his fade, a freaking huge revealing gash over his head. And Matt tried it a couple times. There was a freaking side effect. A power bomb. He was trying to hit him up for a power bomb, but thanks to Sammy giving him some punishment, he sold it decent into a slam into the table with a chair behind, like below the table, so that looked like it hurt. So the table match was won off Sammy Guevara. The match enough was not the best, and this is obviously still this compelling storyline with Matt Hardy against Sammy Guevara because of a technical accident. All I'm just glad for is that they showed up with Chris Benoit pictures on the crowd, like Thunderdome crowds, and that's what you get, especially with letting, the internet be used as viewership, especially on camera, when people obviously don't give a crap about your product that much anymore, that instead of showing up with signs, they give KKK pictures, and of course, Benoit photos. And a Pikachu, that was literally the best part of SummerSlam. And, ended up with after the match, Orange Cassidy came out of nowhere ambushing Chris Jericho, so I knew something dumb was going to happen later part of the show, because it always happens. So Orange Cassidy, Jim Ross was just coming around getting really pissed off, like, you gotta control yourself, goddamn, before it's the f***ing N-word. I'm sorry, he's not going to say that, but other than that, that was the show. Cassidy, for their Mimosa match at All Out, obviously, I'm going to pay money to see fat Chris Jericho dribble around in orange juice and champagne. I'm obviously compelled to watch that. I'm just not compelled for that match. I mean, we still have a week to go, and of course, there's going to be pretty much prodigal build unless we have less tag team matches. Like, the most compelling match that we had was literally the main event. We had a segment involving at least the Young Bucks talking some sense into Hangman and then cutting him off the Elite. So Hangman's off the Elite, so that's rough for him, I guess. But for the complacency part of things, I thought the Elite was just Omega and the Young Bucks and Cody. Like, I never thought any description of Hangman even being a part of it. It just felt so awkward, especially when they were just a makeshift tag team, even though they already have like 14 tag teams in the division. So it just made no sense. We also had way too much time for Jake the Snake Roberts being in the ring just to show a promo that you better win, or else I'm gonna rub my belly or something. I'm just making fat jokes because Jake the Snake Roberts' stomach is too revealing, and it's just so weak, and especially over two men. Tabs was just like dressing it up until Darby Allin came with the skateboard, ambushing Ricky Starks, coming around. Everybody was hoisting each other back, trying to be too aggressive, but I don't care about this battle royale for no damn reason, other than to hype up the Brian Cage and Lance Archer, and Darby Allin's going to be there, with the obvious favorite being Marco Stunt. Because kill me. It is... Oh, boy. I don't know what's going to be the build for... Probably Matt Cardona challenging for the TNT title, thanks to I haven't seen him on TV for like 3 weeks or something. He hasn't been seen since like his tag match with Cody. And I don't even know what they're going to do for anything else. I think FTR will get a title shot. Yeah, FTR will face off against Omega and Page, so I guess the Young Bucks are going to play a negative part about it. This was average episode of Dynamite, to be honest. I'll be nice and give it a 6. I mean, I just want to give it a 5. So freaking bad or a 4, man. It's like saturation of tag team, with at least the Gauntlet match at least telling a story revolving around the Young Bucks and Hangman. And just felt like they made an 8-man tag for no damn reason. Other than Eddie Kingston showing there's unity. There's unity, bitch. I don't know why I said that, but it's just I'm just not compelled. There just doesn't seem that much of an factor. Like the selling point is just Moxley versus MJF and nothing else. I'm not compelled about a mimosa match involving Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy for the third time now. And can the freaking Revival just beat a makeshift tag team that's held the belt more than a legitimate made tag team with decades of chemistry? Like, I'm serious at this point. Like I don't I like I understand it's been a pandemic and they're thanks to most of their other talents restricted to certain circumstances. But by God, it's just y'all could just do a bit more freaking title changes to at least get some people to watch the show or something. But that's the review. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, bro. I mean, I'm not trying to get too aggressive. I'm leaving that for payback because I know I'm gonna hate that. Uh, Hopefully you guys are ready for SummerSlam. I mean, payback. Jesus, on All Out, we have one more Dynamite to go, and Dark if you really care about that. But that's it coming from me. Thanks for watching.